Hey everybody, it's Chris with Texas Customs again, and I've got another Casita project behind me that we just finished. This one we're calling the Big Hossita, and let me show you why. So this is the biggest one that we've built to date. Ample ground clearance as always. Running a 34 by 11, so that's a 285 75 17 method race wheel. This is our full chassis build that we do. This one has a 2-inch by 6-inch rectangle tubing chassis. It's 1/8 inch thick. That's welded to the factory chassis. That strengthens up, eliminates the twist and torque that you experience. Don't have to worry about rivets popping. At the front, we cut the factory tongue off. You can see there. Relocated the sewer tube up front, kind of terminate that. It looks nice and clean. But we extended the chassis. You can see the bend is back here on the factory, and it's now here, so there's 2 foot of extended chassis. Gives us some space up front for a toolbox. It's a 48-inch toolbox. First time we've done this. Worked out really well. Give you ample storage room. Customer opted for an upgrade on the coupler, running the McHitch. We've used these on several projects. The U-joint at the front gives you extreme articulation. Hookup between the truck and trailer is very easy, and pulling it is very smooth and fluid-like. So that is an upgrade option on the chassis build that we offer. This is a standard option here, the drop leg tongue jack. It's a 7,000 pound lift capacity tongue jack. Cranks very easy. Has the drop leg so you can pull the pin. You drop it to the ground so you don't have to crank it the entire way to get it there. And it has a large foot, so there's no need to put a board underneath to keep the jack foot from penetrating the ground. Work towards the rear here. Get a better close-up, and that's that method 17-inch wheel with the 285 75 17 Toyo Open Country RT Trail. I really like that tire. It's not necessary to put a tire with big grips like that on a trailer, but it matches the truck. Why not? Looks good. Gives you a high speed rating too. Good ply rating. The Casita's well under the weight rating this tire can handle. I should mention that our builds add about 650 pounds, 700 pounds on average to the camper's dry weight. So the average build weight has been, and we weigh every one that we do, has been between 36 and 3,700 pounds. That's without any camping gear in there. So that's very important. Make sure that your vehicle can handle that weight towing capacity. Talk about the hubs. We're running a 5,200 pound suspension with a 7,000 pound drum on there. So you see it's got an 8-lug pattern. You can choose either one standard with our chassis build. No difference in price. You can go 6-lug or 8-lug. The 6-lug has a smaller outer bearing, and the 8-lug has a little larger outer bearing. That is the only difference between the two other than the bolt pattern. So you can choose, the brakes stay the same, the bearings stay the same. You just choose which one you want. You want a 6-lug or 8-lug. I like the 8-lug because you get that larger extra bearing. A little bit bigger bearing takes a little bit more abuse. The 5,200 pound is definitely sufficient, but if you can get a little bit bigger bearing, why not? We did add the airtight hub kit on these. That is a kit you can go to airtighthubs.com if you want to kind of check them out. Our military's contracted with this company. It's been the best system that I've found to keep water intrusion out of the bearings. The way it works is the grease seal on the inside gets a little compound that glues it to the hub. The grease cap on the outside also gets that compound and glued on. And then there's a stainless steel wear sleeve that gets pressed onto the spindle. They use a proprietary Viton seal. So the seal is proprietary. You've got to get it from Airtight Hubs. So you ask, well, what about servicing? You got to get this special seal. Well, the service is pretty easy. If you keep these bearings greased, you don't have a bearing failure, you don't have to worry about that seal. What I mean by that is you just jack it up where the tire is off of the ground, pop the cap off the end, and do what they call a grease exchange. These have the Easy Lube axles, so you stick a grease gun on the end, slowly rotate the tire as you're pumping the grease in, and that greases the inner bearing. And you push that grease all the way to the outer bearing and through it, and now you have a grease system. Pop the cap back on, take a simple little pump that you'd air up a basketball or a football, stick it in the hole, pump it up, the cap pops out, indicates it has positive pressure. So previously I liked the Dexter Vault system, and I still think it's a good system, but it's not quite as good as this. Airtight hubs are a good little upgrade. That was an optional upgrade that we offer. No extra labor because we're already assembling everything. You just buy the parts from us and we'll put them on. We keep them in stock. The Timbren Axless suspension, the cross member to brace is up in the frame, so there's nothing hanging down below the chassis, so there's nothing to catch there. But the biggest thing about the Timbren that I like is the fact that it gives a super plush, soft ride. This suspension acts like it has shock absorbers on it, so if you hit bumps or rough roads, it dampens that rebound just like it has shock absorbers. So there's no need to put shocks on there and worry about servicing shocks at a later time. This suspension rides great. I 100% recommend the Timbren axleless suspension. Coming towards the rear, we have an optional add-on with the rear deck. We've done these in different sizes. This one is body width, so it's 72 inches wide. I've done them 60 inches wide. I've even done a little small one. I can't remember the dimension on that. Front to back, this is an 18 inch. We can do up to a 24. I don't recommend doing any further than that. As you think about it, the further out that you stick the back deck area, draw a straight line between those, and that's your point that you'll drag it. Now, it takes some abuse, and you can drag that thing through a low spot if you had to, over some rocks. This is something we haven't done before. Customer request. We welded receiver tubes on the end and used the same jack that we use at the front as a stabilizer, so it has a 3-point stabilizer on this one. The only thing that I'm not sure if I did right, and this is going to be preference, aesthetically it looked much better without the receiver tube hanging out about 3.5 inches, so you had clearance to put the pin on the outside. So I mounted it flush as possible, keep it from sticking way out, but now you have to take the pin out from the bottom side, so you're kind of blind as you're doing that, feeling for it to line up as you repin it. Give me your opinion. Now we like to put these little strap points on there. Notice those. We got 6 around the outside perimeter and then another 2 on the inside perimeter. And the 2 on the inside are a stabilizer strap for the spare. Spare sits in the factory location. Still utilizes the factory threaded rod. We did put an extension on it. We made this little T-handle on this one. It's kind of nifty. Walk around here. Oh, the track width. I didn't talk about that. This is a wider track width. So Timbren has the option, if you're going to run larger off-road tires, get a longer spindle. And then in addition to that, we stepped the chassis out another 2 inches here. See that? Give a nice wide track with added stability. Look at it from the front right quick. And another upgrade option, we did a double step. They do not make a triple step that I found that fits the dimensions of the factory brackets. A triple step would probably be ideal, but the double step gets where the bottom is about 16 inches off the ground. So it is a little bit higher step than what you would ideally like, but it's much better than a single. You can tell that'd be way off the ground. On the front, another upgrade option we offer. Almost kind of hard to see here on the camera, but there is gray spray-in bed liner. We wanted to get as close as possible to the factory finish. We can do it in multiple colors. We can do standard black, we can do gray, whatever you want. Protect that front fiberglass on that cap. This is another upgrade option. Armored marker lights. Those have a metal cage around them, so if rocks come up, I mean, it's not 100% covered, but it does add a lot of additional coverage to keep from knocking that out with a rock. Stepping back and look at front chassis here. The Casita is a great platform to do our full chassis build. It's not the only trailer that we can do chassis builds on. If you have another style camper, you can contact us and we can talk about what you have and get some dimensions on the frame. But this is typically what you would expect with a full chassis build from Texas Customs. Convert your camper into an off-road camper.